Hi, Stephania. I'm Maria. It's nice to finally meet you. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad you were able to come in today. So the purpose of today's session is to get some information about your health and to go over any questions you might have. It also gives me a chance to get to know you. We will go through your food journal and through the assessment questionnaire I gave you to see if there are any changes you can make to help you achieve your health goals. Stephania, what do you do for a living?
I'm currently a full-time student at Penn State. I study architectural engineering, and I plan to graduate in May 2016.
Oh, that's great. Are you involved in any clubs on campus?
Yeah, I joined about 3 clubs. They're architectural engineering related.
Oh, wow. That must keep you busy. Aside from being a student, are you employed anywhere?
Yeah, I work with my mom at the Cabana, which is a food stand at a Royals hockey game arena.
Okay, what do you do at the Cabana?
I help my mom prep and cook the food.
Okay, what kind of food do you serve?
We have rice and beans, Cuban sandwiches, quesadillas, wraps, taco salads.
Okay. Well, when you're not at school or work, what do you usually find yourself doing when you have some free time?
My free time, I like to stay home, watch TV, and I also do some drawings and paintings.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Queens, New York. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I lived there for a good chunk of my life, and then about 10 years ago, I moved to Pennsylvania, and I've been living there ever since.
Okay. And how's your relationship with your family?
It's great. We get along really well.
Okay. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have 2 sisters that are younger than me, and then we also have a dog.
And who do you currently live with?
I currently rent a townhouse in State College with my 2 roommates. We get along pretty well. It's nice to be a little bit far from campus and from home.
Okay. And what is your daily routine like? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, on a daily basis, I wake up, go to school, do some work. I don't have a set schedule with classes since I'm on my final year, but when I do have class, I go, and if not, I try to do my next assignments or my next tech reports since they're set up pretty weekly basis. Other than that, I like to spend my time at home painting and watching TV. It's just some stress relievers.
Okay, so it sounds like your days can really vary. Some days you seem to have a pretty open schedule, and then others they can be pretty hectic. Tell me how far your knowledge in nutrition goes. Would you say it's something you know a lot about or very little about?
Actually, very little. I'm very interested in learning, which is probably one of the main reasons I came. I also want to try to make my healthier, set healthier lifestyles or change my daily routines.
Okay.
But I'm hoping to learn a little bit more today.
Okay, so tell me what exactly you were looking to change, what your goals are at the moment.
I was hoping to lose about 5 pounds and maybe also set a plan to eat less sugar.
Okay. And I was going through your assessment questionnaire, and I see you are currently 120 pounds and you are 5'1". This puts you at a BMI of 23.2, which is within the healthy weight range. Do you know what a BMI is?
I have a general idea because of a personal fitness class I took back in high school, but can you clarify it for me?
Yeah, so your BMI is your body mass index, and a high BMI can be an indicator of high body fatness. Tell me what is leading you to your current desire to lose weight.
To get rid of the pounds that I have gained since I started at State College. I guess they weren't kidding about the freshman 15. I feel like losing 5 pounds would make me feel better and more energized on a daily basis. I feel like when I moved to State College, I didn't make as many healthier choices as when I was at home, mainly because my mom cooked and I didn't have to pay as much attention to what I was actually making. But now since I'm cooking for myself, I have to make my own decisions and it's a little bit more challenging.
Okay, and even though you are currently at an appropriate BMI, we can definitely go over some changes that you can make in your lifestyle. Losing 5 pounds will still keep you within your healthy BMI range. So before we get into your current eating habits, how would you describe a healthy lifestyle?
I would say a healthy lifestyle would be eating fruits and vegetables and maybe eating meats at a moderate amount and not eating as many sweets, apart from exercising on a daily basis.
Okay, Let's talk about what you are currently eating. I see on your food journal that your food choices varied pretty widely over the weekend, but I did notice that you didn't eat any foods for the 3 days you did your food journal. Is this your usual fruit intake, or was this past weekend?
Personally, I do eat more fruits, but this past weekend, because of work, I didn't pay attention to how much fruit I ate. It was a pretty hectic weekend for me. A lot of people called off and put more pressure on me because it was an opening hockey game, and that meant more people came to the cabana.
Okay. So what is your usual intake like?
Well, I usually have a smoothie in the morning, and if I get a chance, I may have like a banana or an apple throughout the day. And in the afternoon, I usually eat some yogurts and berries.
Okay. And your vegetable intake for 2 of the days seemed pretty varied. I noticed that your highest intake for the 3 days was grains. Do you know what the difference between whole grains, enriched grains, and refined grains are?
No, I don't know. What's the difference?
So whole grains are the healthiest of grains. They haven't gone through any processing, so they haven't lost any nutrients. Whole grains are a better source of fiber, so that's why we recommend it. Refined grains go through a process that takes out nutrients. The point of this process is pretty much to make them last longer and to give them like a finer texture. Enriched means that some of the nutrients were lost during the processing, but they were added back in. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but how would you know like what food falls under what category?
Well, for example, it sounds like you have cereal every morning. If you look on the box, it will tell you if it is a whole grain cereal. Bread packages also have it on there, so you can always double check before purchasing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I guess I'll have to double check my grains next time I go to the store.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you are already making a few healthy choices in your grains, but what changes do you think you can make to improve them?
I think I could probably substitute like the white breads for whole wheats or maybe whole wheat pasta as well.
Okay. And on a scale from 1 to 10, how likely do you think you are to sticking to these changes? 1 being not at all and 10 being completely likely.
Maybe about a 4 or 5.
So why a 4 and a 5 and not a 7?
Because like I mentioned, this past week was hectic and I was working at the cabana. But they serve white bread at the cabana, and I probably wouldn't have any control over changing the bread they offer. But I guess at home I could change the type of bread I buy and buy some whole wheat bread or some whole wheat pasta.
Okay, I understand. Do you know what omega 3 and omega 6 fatty acids are?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Omega 3 and omega 6 fatty acids are essential fats, which means our body can't produce it, so we have to take it through food sources. Our bodies need them to maintain brain and nerve functions, and you can get it through food sources like fish, nuts, seeds, and avocados. There's evidence that it helps lower the risk of heart disease, and I see from your questionnaire that you have a family history of heart disease, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure. Are you worried that you might develop one of these medical problems?
Yeah, because I have people on both sides of my family who have these problems. My dad has high cholesterol, and high blood pressure runs on my mom's side of the family.
Okay, so looking at your assessment questionnaire, I see that you do not eat seafood. What do you think you could do to increase your omega intake?
Well, I do eat tuna. Does that have omega?
Yeah, tuna does have omega. What else could you do?
Well, I do eat avocado. You mentioned avocado has omegas, so I would definitely try to add them into my diet.
Okay. And I see that you wrote that you don't do any physical activity during the day. Have you thought of joining a gym for exercise?
Well, I actually do have a gym membership at school. I used to go to the gym a lot, but recently, because of the hectic schedule, I haven't been able to go.
Okay. So it sounds like you have tried to make a change before. What caused you to stop going to the gym?
Like I mentioned before, just a busy schedule, and with thesis, it being my last year at school, I just haven't had time and maybe find motivations to go.
Okay. Is physical activity something you're interested in?
Yeah, definitely. I try to be active when I can, but it's hard to stick to the idea of going to the gym every day.
Okay. And what do you think you could do to help motivate you to go to the gym?
I could definitely find a gym buddy and who could maybe convince me to go to the gym every day, like my roommates or maybe a friend.
Okay. How about we set a goal for you to complete from now until the next time we meet?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So how many days do you think you would be willing to go to the gym this week?
I don't know, maybe like 3.
Okay, and how long do you think you could make each workout be?
Maybe about an hour or 2.
Okay, and how confident do you feel you can achieve this goal?
I'm pretty confident as long as I have somebody to go with me, like I mentioned before.
Okay, so let's talk about your sugar intake. You mentioned that you would like to lower your sugar intake. What is making you want to make this change in your nutrition?
Well, I always find myself eating and drinking sugary drinks and snacks and not enough water. I feel like if I learn to cut back on the sugar that I eat, then maybe that will help me lose weight too.
Okay. I see in your food journal that you are drinking fruit punch, coffee with sugar, a hot chocolate, Italian ice, and sugar cookies. Do you think this is where your sugar intake level usually is, or is it usually higher or lower?
Sometimes it may be higher. There are days where I drink more sugary drinks than others. I think that it's my biggest problem when it comes to sugar.
Okay. And what changes would you be willing to make to your sugar intake in order to meet your sugar goals?
I could probably try to drink more water instead of juices.
Okay. So then let's set a goal for next week. What change would you be willing to make in order to lower your sugar intake?
Maybe every time that I have a sugar drink and replace it for water. Or maybe for every 1 cup of sugar, have 2 cups of water.
Okay. And how likely do you feel you will be able to follow through with this?
Not very likely.
So how about if maybe you try to switch your drink to water every other time you want to drink a sugary drink? Do you think you could do that?
Yeah, I could definitely try that.
Okay, great. That's a good start. Let's also set a goal for your fruit intake. What would you be willing to do to increase your fruit intake?
I could try to eat more fruit each day, maybe some grapes between meals.
Okay. And did you enjoy keeping a food journal?
Yeah, I did.
All right. Did you feel like it made you more conscious about what you were eating?
Yeah, it actually did. I knew I would be reading it, so it kind of made me think twice before eating anything.
Okay. Would you be open to doing another food journal for our next meeting? I would love to see if you were able to make a change towards your new goals.
Sure.
Okay, well, I'm really glad we were able to come up with a few goals for you to achieve for our next session. Do you have any questions for me?
Could we set a goal for the omega intakes?
That sounds like a great idea. What do you have in mind?
I don't know. Maybe other choices that I could have other than the avocados that we recommended earlier.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that you sometimes make yourself a smoothie in the morning, so maybe you could add some flax seeds into your smoothies. Flax seeds are a good source of omega fatty acids. How does that sound?
Yeah, I could do that. Are there any other ways, like supplements? I always see them in the stores. Would that be an option?
Well, let's not jump straight into supplements just yet. Let's give it a shot and see if you are able to increase your omega intake with your food.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Was there anything I said that you would like me to clarify?
No, I don't think so. Everything was pretty clear.
Okay, great. I'm glad we were able to meet today.
Me too. Thanks for the information.
Thanks for coming. I'll see you again next week for our second session. Oh, and don't forget your food journal.
I will. See you next week.
Bye.